Michigan is currently running through St. Louis right now, and I was gonna go watch that game. I was gonna record this video later, but yeah, that's what happened. So we're gonna be doing a mock draft instead because I don't know, I'm bored right now, so I'm gonna make a video. Let's go 2026 NFL mock draft. Every team makes a pick, even those without a first rounder, by Josh Edwards, who I actually like his mock drafts a lot. So I'm pretty high on Josh Edwards. So I have pretty high expectations. Not that high, but a good amount. So let's get to it. The Raiders select Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. That's another easy pick for me too. I think this team again needs it. I made a short about this recently. It's just the easiest pick. There's just no way that Fernando Mendoza doesn't go here, and I'd be thoroughly shocked if he doesn't. And the thing with Mendoza, right? The arm talent isn't astounding. It's not his physical tools. He has a good frame. He's 6'5", 236. He has a really good frame, but it's not his tools. It's his leadership and also his clutch. People underrate his clutch a little bit. I think that his clutch was honestly like one of the best features about him. Obviously his leadership is like top notch, but his clutch was so good, and that's what I really liked about him more than anything else was how composed he stayed under pressure. Even these games where he would be bow tested, Penn State, Ohio State, Miami, like all these games, even the games like where they were winning by like so much, like Oregon, and in all those games, he didn't really worry. Like he never really, like he never took his foot off the pedal. He was still trying to win. That's the Cignetti style offense, and that's the Cignetti style mindset. I think Mendoza has translated that, and that's why he transferred to Indiana, because again he has this mindset, and I think he has a great mental. He's just a guy who's not going to be too that could be too problematic in the locker room. He's actually going to be a plus in the locker room, and that's what you really need for a team, especially for the quarterback, which is the most important position in football. So there's a lot of like good with him. That's why he's going number one overall. You don't just take an average guy to go number one overall. It's a reach, because if he was average, then he wouldn't go number one overall. He's just amazing, and this team had a lot of cap space. They spent a lot of cap space in free agency. They are getting a lot of like help for him. They really are, and I don't think the wide receiver core is as bad as people like to give him credit for. I think the wide receiver core, if Clint Kubiak uses them in the right scenario, in the right scheme, I think Mendoza can use him similarly to have a similar type, not season, but like a similar type outcome where he's making these good clutch plays and clutch throws for the Raiders if Kubiak keeps on using these players that they have around him. So it's not a bad pick, and it's the easiest pick for me. The Jets take Arbor Reese, edge out of Ohio State University. So I like this pick a lot for them too. I think again it fits the scheme, 3-4 defense. I think that there's a lot more upside, like Mr. Edwards says. Arbor Reese has a little more upside. That's the whole point, right? You want the upside, you really do, and that's what you want. And also, it fits the scheme. And I know people are saying like maybe Bain will work better. I like Bain a lot, but I don't think Bain fits in the scheme as well. I think Arbor Reese, because you can drop him into that coverage spot, you can drop him in there. I had a whole rant about this the last couple of times I've mock drafted, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on this pick. But it just makes sense here. It really does make sense here. So I personally like it. Some people don't. I don't know why, because Arbor Reese is a little bit of a raw prospect. He's definitely raw, but if you develop him, Aaron Glenn developed some of these other guys. He helped develop Aiden Hutchinson. He helped develop some of these other guys, Jack Campbell on this defense. He can maybe turn into those that Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell type player. I know Aiden Hutchinson is primarily an edge rusher, but he can eventually develop him into that monster that those guys are. So I like that. I really like it. I really like it. So it makes the most sense for me. The Cardinals take David Bailey, edge out of Texas Tech University. I like this too. I would prefer Maui Noah. Even with Sweat's departure, I think you can maybe get a better player in the third round if you take Ty Simpson in the second, or if you trade up and eventually give up a second for Ty Simpson. So that's a lot of interesting areas. I probably have around the 19th prospect rank too. I don't think he's in my top 20. Maybe he's around 19, 18. But regardless, I'm not sold. I'm not really that sold on him. He's a great pass rusher. Whatever team gets him might get a great pass rusher. It's just there's a little bit more I need from him: strength, bend, just overall production, and there's also off the field concerns. NC State and ASU cameraman issue. That's a big red flag. So there's a lot of areas for him to improve on, but again, the upside's there too as well. He's a little bit of an older prospect, which is why I have him falling a little bit too, because Arbor Reese is a junior, David Bailey is a senior, redshirt senior. Arbor Reese is a regular junior, and David Bailey is a redshirt senior. So he's technically a fifth year guy. So that's interesting to talk about. But again, I don't hate it, but there's more, and I think Maui Noah would make a little more sense because he has more production, and this team needs a tackle too. They need to build trenches. So regardless, you get a trenches pick. So I'm not hating that. Edge is also another like really highly scouted position. So it's not a bad idea. But I think I prefer Maui a little bit more. But again, it's not a bad pick. The Titans take Jeremiah Love. He knows ball, bro. He does. I like Edwards a lot. I like his mock drafts. Jeremiah Love makes so much sense here. Again, you use him similar. Brian Daboll will use him similar to that Saquon Barkley role, where he can kind of do it all back, where he can catch, has home run threat ability. Will be a real focal point for this offense for Cam Ward and even the receivers like Wan'Dale Robinson around him. So I like it a lot. I really do, and I think that makes a lot of sense in just in general. So it's not a bad idea to eventually invest into the running back position, because you have Tony Pollard and you have Tyjae Spears, two guys who are fine. You definitely can use an upgrade. Like Jeremiah Love is not stopping, or those guys are not stopping from drafting Jeremiah Love, and that's the whole point about this. And there are some positions they might need, maybe an edge. I think edge is available. But do you want to take Ruben Bainier? Are you sure about that? Do you want to take Jeremiah Love? I think I like the Jeremiah Love pick a little bit more, even though I love Ruben Bainier as a prospect. But as Jeremiah Love, like, it's not a bad idea to take him here and take that one cut ability. It's not. It's really just not a bad idea. So I like it. I think this makes a lot of sense for them. Giants take Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Another perfect pick. I think he's just awesome. He's just so great. I think his in between the tackling skills, which this team really needs. This team was terrible in rush stopping defense. I think they were ranked 29th in total defenses. I don't know the rush ranking, but it was really bad. They were in among the least worst in the rush stopping department as well. It was really bad. Other than Dexter Lawrence, who had a down year this year, there was no real rush stopping event. And Micah McFadden got hurt. The linebacker area was a revolving door, other than Bobby Okereke, who had also a down year, which is why he's cut now. I know that was veteran leadership, but you can get Sonny Styles, get Tremaine Edmonds, and they also re-signed Micah McFadden. That's the linebacker course figured out if you have Sonny Styles, McFadden, and Edmonds. So I like this pick a lot for them. Provides good rushing side ability to stop right now, and also good X-safety style pass coverage in the future. He'll be a stud. I'm telling you guys, he will be a fucking stud. And, that's what you want from pick number 5. And, yes, it's an off-ball linebacker. There's positional value that does matter, but at one point you have to be like, okay, like, he is good enough to the point where you take him here. There's just no other way to put it. He's just that good. So taking Sonny Styles here is not a reach at all. This is actually probably a good range for him to go. The Browns take Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Keep him in state. I like this a lot too. I think Carnell Tate will be pretty good. He did run a slow 40. I remember people in the combine were making jokes saying, "Oh, don't draft him. He's slow. Don't draft him." It was obviously a joke, guys. People are taking it too literally. Those guys are joking. They knew he was a top end talent. But you're not taking him for his speed. He has great route running. He has pretty good separation for how slow he is, and he also is just a solid blocker too. He will block for you, and that's what you need. I eventually rewatched tape. I said this in the last couple of mock drafts. I've had Carnell Tate my number one wide receiver one for the last week and a half now. So that's really I'm really high on Tate. I think he'll be awesome. I think the separation, the skills, the good contrast. Yes, as a wide receiver one, there is a ceiling. I don't think he is gonna be like a superstar like a Jamar Chase type, but he's going to be a real solid receiver, a above average receiver regardless, and that's the whole point. You're taking him here for to be an above average receiver, and you see how he produced. Again, in 2024, he was with a fucking bunch of beasts in that room. 2025-2026 season, he's next to Jeremiah Smith, still produces a lot. He's still a good contrast. He's kind of the Robin to Jeremiah Smith's Batman, and obviously if you're the Robin to Jeremiah Smith's Batman, because Jeremiah Smith is a generational prospect. You haven't seen anybody like that since a freshman year to junior year. He's been dominating. Next year when we talk about Jeremiah Smith, I will just glaze the fuck out of him because I love him. But if you take Carnell Tate here, he was producing next to Jeremiah Smith, who is probably the best wide receiver prospect we've seen in a fucking long time. So if you take Carnell Tate here, I like it. I really like it, and it's not a bad option to take him here. The Commanders take Caleb Downs, safety out of Ohio State University. I like it a lot too. I think this makes a lot of sense. All the Buckeyes are going right now, 3 for 3 right now. So 4 for 4 actually, because Arva Reese just went. 4 Buckeyes in the first round of the first 7 picks. Yep, he just did it. So, yeah, I swear to God, I didn't even read that. He just said that. Wow, okay. Yeah, so Downs goes here. They need safety help. They need secondary help. I like it. I had this in my mock draft recently. It makes a lot of sense for this team. You get Downs. I know people are just talking about his degenerative ACL. I'm not worried about that. I'm really not. If that didn't make a huge difference in college football and made him produce at 2 top 5 programs, like, come on, like, what the fuck are we doing? He produced at Alabama, prestigious program. Produced at Ohio State, probably the best program in the country right now. There is just no way that, maybe beside Indiana, but I haven't seen enough from Indiana. Ohio State has been consistently good. That's a discussion for a different time. But Ohio State, again, utilize him in different areas, box primarily, but I feel like he has the versatility to play wherever he wants. He's just good. He's really just a solid prospect, and he will walk into that room and he will be a stone setter. He will be a tackler merchant. He will be, well, that sounds bad, but he'll be like a tackler. He will get tackles for you. He'll provide youth for this team. He's not an older prospect. He will provide crazy good leadership and crazy good on the field and off the field. That's a gigantic part of this too. I value leadership a lot in my analyzation. That's why I like Fernando Mendoza so much, is because his leadership is top notch. Caleb Downs' leadership is top notch. That's why I have Caleb Downs as my number one prospect in the class, because he is just so good. His leadership's off the charts, and the on-field production is so good. He's produced every single year he's been in college football. I don't see how that changes in the NFL. Awesome pick. Ruben Bain goes to the Saints, edge out of Miami, Florida. I like this a lot too. I think Bain, again, he's second-ranked prospect. He's a little too high for me. I think I have him as my 7th or 8th. He's still an awesome prospect. I love Ruben Bain. I think he will be awesome for this team. And regardless, they need pass rushing, because he can be the next Cam Jordan for this team. Kind of fits similarly to Cameron Jordan, where it's that strong guy who uses his strength a lot and is very violent. That kind of eerily reminds me of Cam Jordan. So with Cam Jordan leaving, you get your Cam Jordan replacement. Like it a lot. And people are going to be concerned about his arm length. I think you can overlook that. I know that's a big problem, and I know that's a gigantic problem. But I think that instead of worrying about that, you look at the production and look at the violence, and you look at the speed, and you look just at the whole polishness of him as a prospect. Because out of these top 3 edge rushers, in my opinion, he's the most polished right now. And this team needs a polished edge rusher, because Brian Bresee has not been good. Davenport has not been good. Some of these other guys, the depth guys, have not been like what you want to. Bresee's been okay. He's been average. You want that tone setter there, and now with Cam Jordan gone, you have to go an edge here, and you maybe take a wide receiver in the later round. I think after this, some of the edge rushers drop off a little bit, so I think you need a wide receiver in the second round and taking an edge here for the first round. I think that's my preference for this team, so I like it a lot for in this aspect. The Chiefs go Francis Manoa, offensive tackle out of Miami, Florida. I don't hate this pick at all, too. I think Francis Manoa is just strong as fuck. He doesn't have blow you away speed for a lineman, but he is really strong. He's above average in the strength percentile. It's not the strongest offensive tackle class in the world. It's not the strongest prospect in the world, but again, he's not a solid prospect. I like it a lot for this team. It'll work a lot, and this team needs an offensive tackle after letting Juwan Taylor go. So he plays right tackle, not bad. You get a fit there. The Bengals take Jamal McCoy, corner out of Tennessee. That's another interesting area to talk about as well. Do teams reach on Jamal McCoy? I brought this up recently. I've seen people bring that up, that teams that are players that get injured, teams sometimes take a risk on them and say, okay, the tape was so good the year before, why don't we try again? Derek Stingley, I saw someone, I watched Bengals said this. With Derek Stingley, he had a great year as a freshman at LSU. He got injured or tore, like he had a season-ending injury, and then had a bad year, COVID year, and that he still won top 3. And maybe you say the same thing about Jamal McCoy, tore his ACL, and maybe can have a bad year, but he can also be a locked-on corner. Derek Stingley is a top 5 corner now. It's an interesting point to bring up. I didn't really think of it that way, as Bengals said, but okay, it's interesting to talk about, and I think Jamal McCoy can go here. He says he was a really solid prospect. He has great burst. He really, like, I watched some of his tape. I'm gonna start rewatching some of his tape. I watched his tape a couple months ago. It's solid. It really is solid, and I know people are gonna be concerned with the ACL injuries, but I said I'm not a doctor, but apparently like ACL injuries are not what they used to be. It's easier to rehab. There's more modern technology. The surgery is getting a little better. That's why people, and Achilles injuries too, but we're talking about ACL because he tore his ACL. There's areas, and this team did lose Cam Taylor, and with Downs not here, this makes the most sense for me. But you can also go an edge rusher, but again, the 3 edge rushers are gone. So like you want to reach on an edge rusher, you want to reach on someone like a Keldrick Folk, a Guy Messidor. Like, I don't think that's worth it. And maybe a tackle here, maybe Spencer Fano, but I don't know. I don't like that. I think Jamal McCoy is a fine option. Maybe Mansour here. I think Mansour will work a little bit better. Mansour isn't off yet. I think he can play that nickel / corner role that they need, and it's a more sound corner in terms of injury and production this year. So it's kind of more of a gamble, but again, it's organizations value some of these players, so it's not a bad pick per se. Dolphins take Mansour. If Mansour falls to the Dolphins, I think they take him immediately. Jeff Hafley would love this corner. It would be awesome. This team might need a receiver, but you can take a receiver like Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, and then the 30th pick or 43rd for another player like Ted Hurst or Bryce Lance. Not a bad idea to take Delane here. Again, you can build your corner. Their number 1 corner is Jack Jones. Not good. I can also see a sleeper pick is Dylan Thiemann. I think Dylan Thielen would be like stud for this team. I know they have a safety already, but Dylan Thielen is an upgrade on whatever secondary position they get. That's a good pick. So, like it. The Cowboys take Mekhi Lemon out of USC. It's interesting because if George Pickens doesn't play, this wide receiver is 100% in play because, again, outside of CeeDee Lamb, who do you have? We lost Tolbert. So there's areas to talk about, I guess. And you also have Turpin, obviously. You can play that kick returner / slot role. But Kyle Lemon can kind of play on that Z role, too. I think it's not bad. A little bit of lack of explosiveness. He has dropped a little bit for my wide receiver rank, because I have him ranked as my wide receiver 2/3. I don't know who I like more, Jordan Tyson or Lemon yet. I'll figure that out when I get to the draft, get closer to draft day. But Mekhi Lemon isn't a bad pick per se. But again, this team needs a little bit more. Maybe in the safety room, Dylan Thielen isn't a bad idea, or another corner, because this team also has a glaring need at corner. So it's not a bad idea, but again, I think I prefer other options. Rams take Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. Like this pick a lot too. I think Kenyon will be amazing for this team. Can play on the outside role. It's another weapon from Matt Stafford. Like it a lot. There's no reason to make that much complaints about it, other than his prospect when he has 29th. I have him as a top 10 player. He's an awesome fucking stud. I don't think he's as sound as Brock Bowers. But again, Brock Bowers was, in my opinion, was a generational tight end coming out. That 2024 draft class was fucking studs. I love that class. But Kenyon Sadiq is a decent prospect, and I think if you utilize him the right ways, he will get you some crazy numbers, and this team could use a kind of bigger body in the outside, and even a tight end, like another tight end in a good contrast to that room. Not a bad idea. The Ravens take Spencer Fano, offensive tackle / guard out of Utah. Like it too, you can play that swing tackle role. This is honestly the perfect fit for Fano, because they use these offensive tackle guards, swing hybrids a lot. So I don't hate it. I think this makes the most sense for them, and they also lost their guard / tackle area. Their tackles have not been good either. So again, there's a lot of moving areas. You see how he wants to play, where he wants to play, how well he plays at these areas, and you just kind of make a estimate there. But I like it. I think that makes the most sense for this team. The Bucks take Vega Ione. I like this too. I watched Vega Ione. He was my guard number 1. Even if Fano ends up being a guard, I think I have him as my guard number 2. I love Vega. He just plays like a mean streak. He has such great run blocking and just strength. He just flattens your ass. He puts you on the ground, pancakes you. He wants to hit you. That's what you want from a lineman. That's what you want from a guard. This team has a glaring hole at guard, and I'm fine taking a guard here. I'm not going to shame a team for taking an offensive lineman. I never do. And if you take Vega Ione here, love it. I really do. And I think this team needs an offensive guard. So I'm not a gigantic hater of this. I don't think you should reach on a prospect like Keldrick Folk with the team on a hot seat. Zion Young with the DUI, you're concerned with the character issues, and Akeem Isidore is like 25 and he'll be really old when he's young. So Akeem Isidore makes the most sense to me. But if you don't want to reach for an edge rusher and maybe wait for the second round, because the edge rusher class is not bad, you take Vega on him. Jordan Tyson goes to the Jets out of Arizona State. I like this pick a lot too. I think Jordan Tyson makes a lot of sense too. Prospect rank number 6. I like it too. I think Jordan Tyson, for how injury prone he is, he's just a damn well good stud. He doesn't, his body hasn't really for how injured he is, his body hasn't really felt the repercussions. It's really solid. It's an ACL injury, hamstring injury, collarbone injury, and then I made a joke when I said next at practice he gets a rug burn. Obviously that didn't happen because that's a joke, but at the same time, right? You don't know what's gonna happen with him, but the Jets need a wide receiver outside of Adonai Mitchell and Garrett Wilson. So taking Jordan Tyson here, who has the number 1 capability, and it will be a great contrast to Garrett Wilson on a cheap deal for a quarterback friendly deal later. It's not bad. It's really not bad, and this team could use a wide receiver. So I don't hate it. I really don't, and this team again can use it. Lions take Marlon Freeling, offensive tackle out of Georgia. I like this too. Again, it's an easy pick. Taylor Decker retired. It's keep it simple. We're not gonna spend too much time on this pick. Freeling has a great frame for a prospect, a little bit underexperienced, but I think you can experience him, and Penei Sewell can help him out a little bit. So not a bad idea. Avion Trail goes to the Vikings. Not a bad idea either. I think, again, Avion Trail is a solid prospect. He's a little smaller than what you want, but again, he plays bigger than he does, so I think that kind of negates it. And other than that, he doesn't really have that many flaws to him. He's just, again, a little smaller, and you can't teach physicality. You have to actually grow into it. So again, I like Avion Trail. I think that makes a lot of sense for me. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And this team has a glaring need at defensive back, safety or regular. I think Dylan Thielen is 100% play. I think Dylan Thielen is my perfect fit for the Vikings. It just makes a lot of sense for me, or even the Dolphins. But Avion Trail is not a bad idea for this team. Kind of fits the. I feel like I would fit Avan Terrell in a Chiefs type offense where he can play that Trent McDuffie role. But regardless, it's a good pick. I don't have many bad things to say about Avan Terrell, if not anything at all. The Panthers take Dylan Thiemann. I like this too. I actually really like Dylan Thiemann. He tested off the charts on the combine. It was an awesome showcasing. I really enjoyed taking Dylan Thiemann here. It makes a lot of sense for this team because Dylan Thiemann was a amazing player at Oregon, even at Purdue too. He had 6 interceptions, and then at Oregon he kind of refined his run game and became a thumper. That's a real good area for the team. He tested so well on the combine. He ran I can't remember. He ran like a 4 point something. He ran a really fast time for a safety, and his drills look really solid. He really rose over the combine for me. It was an awesome showcasing, and I think Dylan Thiemann is not a bad idea regardless. So if you take Dylan Thiemann here, you can get that safety hole in check. Not a bad idea. The safety is a need for this team too, so I don't hate it at all. Cowboys take C.J. Allen, linebacker out of Georgia. People have liked C.J. Allen a lot. I think it's interesting to talk about. He did not have a great pro day. He really didn't. He looked slow. He was was liability in some of the coverages, which is a big concern of mine. He just looks slow. He's really good in between the tackles. He's really good as a high floor run stopper. He's kind of like the Keldrick Folk of linebackers. He's really good. There's just a little bit of problems at the coverage point, and that's a big issue for me because the linebacker you got to cover, especially these smaller guys, these running backs and tight ends, which I was confused about. The faster tight ends and faster slot receivers, which I was concerned about, and its pro day didn't really reassure me at all. That's a big problem. So if you take C.J. Allen here, I don't know how I feel about it. I know they got Rashawn Gary and they just got some safeties, but again, I don't know how I feel about it. And I would love Dylan Thiemann here, but again, C.J. Allen, I don't know how confident I am in this game, so it's not a terrible pick, but I don't like it. Blake Miller, offensive tackle out of Clemson, goes to the Steelers. I don't like Blake Miller at all either. I think he's more of a second round player. I think taking him in the first round is a little bit of a reach. He's a high floor player. He has had lapses though for how experienced he is. He played a bunch of games at Clemson. He's played like over 1 million games. But the problem is he sometimes has real lapses in his like game. He just sometimes just gets beat. And I know you get beat a lot, but at one point you have to be like, okay, like you get beat too much to the point where warranting a first round pick is a bad idea. I think this is one of those cases. I think this team could use a little bit more, maybe a corner here. I like the corner. I would honestly rather than reach for Colton Hood than Blake Miller, because this team has a glaring need for corner. This team has a very glaring need for guard. So maybe if you reach for Manuel Pregnon or Chase Pasantes, I honestly like them a little bit more than Blake Miller. If you can, I would trade back if you can't get Vega, or trade up to get Vega. That's a big need for me. Or even a wide receiver. Oren Cooper Jr. would be awesome for this team. Gets more weapons for that offense. It just makes a lot of sense for me to take someone else other than Blake Miller, and maybe even take a high floor tackle and eventually develop him under Broderick Jones and that tackle room, and then like development. I don't know. I don't like Blake Miller at all. This is a complete give up on Broderick Jones, which is fine, I guess. He hasn't been amazing, but if you take Blake Miller here, it's an average tackle, and I don't know if I feel this. I don't think this team needs to get any more average. This team's already average enough. So why don't we take Blake Miller, who is average, and kind of give him to the average system? You hire an average head coach, Mike McCarthy, to replace a quote unquote average head coach, which was Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin was a great head coach, but again, it doesn't move the needle that much. It wasn't a young, youthful sign that maybe brings energy to the team. You signed a now average Aaron Rodgers. You now sign you get Michael Pittman. I like that move, but like you need more sparks, you need more energy to the team. Blake Miller I don't think provides that, so that's not a great pick to me. Chargers go at Emmanuel Warren. I don't hate this pick at all either. Need a safety, and taking Emmanuel Warren here, it's not a bad idea. Maybe guard's a little bit of a bigger need, but the guard board has not fallen well. Do you want to reach on Emmanuel Pregnon? It's not a bad idea too, but again, Emmanuel Warren isn't a bad idea here. Needs a corner. I can also see a wide receiver in play. Oren Cooper Jr. is not a bad idea, but again, regardless, you get Emmanuel Warren here. I'm not going to be upset about a secondary pick. Eagles take Zion Young, edge out of Missouri. Honestly, they do need a big glaring hole at edge rusher. They had to get Brooks to retire, which is a big unretire, which is a big problem. Zion Young is not bad. Jalen Phillips got crazily overpaid. I don't think the Eagles could have even come close to that type of money they got paid. So it's not a bad idea to start fresh in the edge position. Take Zion Young, who did get a DUI, but he has been producing whatever he does. He's really strong. He's really fast. Not a bad idea to take him. I think TJ Parker might be suffice too. I don't hate it, but yeah, it's not bad. I think you maybe take a developmental tackle in the second round. So it's not a bad idea to take Zion Young here. The Browns take Caleb Lomu. The whole reason why he's going here is because he's a left tackle. He played left tackle at Utah. I don't hate this pick at all. You can develop him into a great left tackle. He has crazy big size. I think he'll be pretty good. He's a little bit A little bit of a young guy. He's not the best prospect ever in the world. He's not the most refined prospect, but again, he's a solid prospect. I don't hate it. I really don't. I don't think people are overreacting if they take Caleb here, which is a left tackle. Left tackle is a premium position in football. Take Caleb. It's not a bad idea to take him here. The Bears take Akeem Estador. Instant edge rushing. I think I have more as a defensive edge, but he has the flexibility. I think an edge would be a little more safe because he had injury history in the defensive interior, but he can play if you decide to eventually bolster up a little bit and give him a little bit more weight, but he can get to the quarterback. There's a little concern with the rush stopping defense. It gets a little inconsistent at times, but his pass rushing is really good. It was a real compliment to Ruben Bain, and this team needs a edge rushing player anyways. And with all the safeties and secondary off the board, taking Akeem Estador here is not a bad idea. And you also have Kobe Brown, so you can maybe take a safety in the second round. I would hope you can get AJ Halsey, because if you take a shot on Genesis Smith and throw him into the starting role, it might not turn out well. It really might not. So taking Akeem Estador here is not a bad idea. The Bills take another left tackle. They take Caden Proctor, offensive tackle out of Alabama. Gigantic size and strength. Josh Edwards has him really high. I don't know if I have him this high, but he's solid. He's I think a top 32, maybe a top 40 player for me. He's an awesome pick. This team could use a real size at guard. You can definitely move him to guard. And this team also needs a guard. You can play that guard / tackle role. Not a bad idea to use him here. It's not the flashy pick, but it's a good pick. The 49ers take Omar Cooper Jr., especially with some of these guys going in the wide receiver room. Jennings and Ayuk. Omar Cooper Jr. can be the start fresh and be next to Pearsall. Not a bad idea. You can play him in the Z, play him in the X, play him in the slot. Real good contact balance, real solid hands. Will be a pretty good quarterback-friendly decision for this team. Needs a wide receiver, not a bad idea taking him here. Edge and tackle 100% in play. But again, the board has not fallen well. I think Caden Proctor would fit well for this team because, again, you can develop him into a monster under Trent Williams, who's already a monster himself. So it's not a bad idea taking him here, but again, he's not here, so we're going to take Omar Cooper Jr. here. Like it. Texas take Caleb Banks. After the foot injury, I don't see this happening. I think with Peter Woods still on the board, I think you should just try Peter Woods. I think that makes the most sense for me because Peter Woods, again, there was a small sample size of how well he can actually be, or with Caleb Banks, there was a small sample size, but he was really good. Problem is he keeps on getting injured, and that's just not something I want to take a chance on. Peter Woods did have a lack of production, but again, he was really solid in his freshman and sophomore season, and teams were game planning around him in his junior season. So why not take Peter Woods, who you can't game plan around everyone on that Texans defense, so why don't you take Caleb Banks here? It's not a bad idea, but I think Peter Woods makes a little more sense for me. Colton Hood, Tennessee sophomore, goes to Kansas City. Not a bad idea either. This team needs Colton Hood. Again, he fits schematically for this team as well. I think he doesn't fit the Trent McDuffie role like someone like Avion Terrell would, but it's not a bad pick regardless. I think this team has a glaring hole for secondary, and they didn't take secondary in the first round, or in the first pick, so it's not a bad idea to take him here. The Dolphins take Casey Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. Not a bad idea either. You can play him literally wherever you want. Slot, punt return, XC. It's not a bad idea. He has drop issues. He does, but it's technique based. It's literally, I've said this a million times. It's literally him doing this, him doing this, versus this. Cool. So you take Casey Concepcion here. So not a bad idea. I like a pick. You need a wide receiver in that room. That wide receiver room is very bad. You have Malik Washington as wide receiver 1 and Jalen Tolbert as wide receiver 2, and Tutu Atwell as wide receiver 3. No, let's get a wide receiver in here. Casey Concepcion could walk in and be that number 1 guy there. The Patriots take Maxi Sinatra, offensive tackle out of ASU. Not a bad idea either. You can develop him under Morgan Moses. The guy yesterday I reviewed said you can groom him. I guess we're grooming people now. We're going to go Maxi Sinatra here. Physical beast. Didn't play football for a lot, but if you do develop him under that offensive line coach and that scheme, not a bad idea at all. The Seahawks go Kodrick Folk, edge out of Auburn. You lost a bunch of edge rushers, some rotational guys, and all biggest being Boye Mafe. Kodrick Folk can develop into that guy you want, and you won't have to step in and be that immediate guy. That's not a bad idea. You take Kodrick Folk here. Will be a little bit of a raw prospect, but if you develop him into a high flow run, he's already a high flow run stopper. If you develop him into a pass rusher with good technique, he can be a fucking stud, and that's really scary that this defense can get that if they really want to. Secondary is also in play. They lost safeties, and corner with Wollongong, but at the same time, right, is the board really that well? You can maybe reach on Brandon Cisse, but you can take Kodrick Folk here. It's not a bad idea regardless. At number 47, the Colts take Anthony Hill Jr., linebacker out of Texas. I don't hate it at all. If this is obviously in the case where Jacob Rodriguez or, in my opinion, Jake Holiday are not on the board, so taking Anthony Hill Jr. is not a bad idea, but I think I would prefer those two. But if those two are not on the board, I think this team needs a linebacker regardless, so not a bad idea. Lee Hunter's 100% play, but I like it. Falcons go Jeremy Bernard, wide receiver, Alabama. I've mocked this a couple of times. Jeremy Bernard's a high flow receiver. It's a good contrast to Drake London will, literally perfect. And he will play the slot area. He can get these short, grimy routes. It would be awesome. I like this. The Packers go Jang Sunker, offensive lineman out of Iowa. It depends where you want to play him. If you play him in the guard, it's not a bad idea. I think I have him more as a guard than a tackle. I think he doesn't move as well for me, and he did test out pretty well in the combine. So there's tackle potential, but I think I like guard a little bit better. So if we take Jang Sunker, it's not a bad idea, but it's a little bit more of a developmental project. The Jaguars go Caden Rutledge, interior offensive lineman out of GT. Not a bad idea either. They need a guard here. They lost a lot of guards. I would I would take Caden Rutledge. He's really strong. Has like really good passion to the game. I like it a lot. Not a bad idea. He tested pretty good at the combat too. Not a tremendously terrible idea for this team. And finally, Josiah Trotter goes to Denver. Not a bad idea either. I would prefer Josiah Trotter over Anthony Hill Jr., but Anthony Hill Jr. has the physical ability, so it's not a bad idea. So I take Josiah Trotter, who is a great tackler, great in between the gaps. We've been an awesome high floor pick for this team. I like it a lot. This team needs a good and cold linebacker. I know Alex Angel will be signed, but I would want a little bit more. So that's not a bad idea. And wide receiver is kind of off the board, obviously, with Jalen Waddle now. So taking Trotter here is not a bad idea regardless. But that's it. Thank you guys all for watching. Let me know what you guys think of this mock draft. I'll let you know. I like his mock drafts. I like Josh Edwards. I said a lot. There's a lot of good picks. There's some picks I would stray away from. The Blake Miller pick was the biggest one for me. But again, people can make that make sense for them, and I think it can make sense in some certain aspects, but it didn't this time. So thank you all for watching. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one.